Sure. Hello all, welcome to Robinsive Training. It's a continued video for the course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert. Myself, Rikun Sindwad, and I will be your instructor for this entire journey. I hold over 5 years of experience in cybersecurity. I'm a red teamer at work. I also do security researcher and hold multiple CVs. Couple of articles are published over Pen Test Magazine, OSCP, OSW, and OSCP certified from Offensive Security. The course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert helps you to build core knowledge against network security and penetration testing. It is designed for everyone with the basic understanding for the cybersecurity domain, like basic networking and the basic pen testing things. An example would be anyone with the knowledge of CEH. Post completion of the course, you will able to gain core concept understanding over various topics, perform internal or external penetration testing, perform extensive network assessment, find security misconfiguration within Active Directory environment, able to do privilege escalation over Windows and Linux machines, write automation scripts, and many more to go. Please read the description before moving ahead with the course content. So we are back with another video on SQL injection to shell, and we have already done with the understanding of SQL injection, and now we are moving towards some exploitation steps. So in the last video, we have already seen one of the case where I was able to log in through different user and was able to do certain things with particular query, right? And that is something recommended. So if you're watching this for the first time, I recommend to start with the first video, the first part of this particular uh, topic, that is SQL injection to shell, and that would be the right path. So if you're watching first time, go ahead with that and then you come back later for the same. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna start with the further exploitation of SQL injection in order to execute our queries, and that will be specifically with the union method. So let's get started. In the last session, we have already seen that by adding apostrophe and minus minus, we're going to comment rest of the line. Along with that, I'll add additional space, so we're gonna have no character wise issues here. Here we go. We get all the results, right, whatever there are, and it just prints everything all at once. And this is what I just added. It's apostrophe plus, it just represents with an additional space, so there is no difference in it. Here what I'm gonna do, the first thing, whenever we are exploiting a specific, let's say, union based SQL injection, let me write it here. Whenever we are exploiting a union based SQL injection, the very first thing that is important is nothing but identifying column, like how many columns are there and all the things will gonna be part of this. And how we can identify column, there are multiple ways, out of which the best and easiest way would be to use something called order by. And with the order by, what I'm saying to my SQL, hey, you order by first column, you order by second column, third column, and we can just supply a number of columns. So if there is any wrong, any column that is not available in the database or a table, then it will gonna be showing an error. So let's see how it works. So here again, it will be just an apostrophe. Along with apostrophe, I'm gonna say order by, and let's say 1. In order to complete the query and balance the query, I'm gonna just add minus minus and an additional space. I'll hit enter, I get no error here. Instead of this 1, what you see on the top, I'm gonna change it with 2. Let's hit enter, it works. If I change it with something like 10, I get an error. It says there is no 10th column. And if I change it to something, let's say 9, how it represents, it says no. If I change it to something 7, it says no error. Means there might be 7 columns. If I change it to 8, it says no 8 column. Means there are total 7 columns in that particular table. And it is actually. So once you identified how many columns are there, the next thing would be to use your union method. With the union, you can just apply something like select column count is should be matched. Whenever you use union, then the one condition is both the select statement should match the column count. And in order to identify column count, we can use order by. And what we found is there are total 7 columns. So I'll be just adding something like union and then select, and then it will gonna be 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 6 7 and respective. In order to complete this particular query, I'm gonna just add minus minus an additional space. And in order to break the query, I'm gonna add this single quote. So I'll remove single quote for now just to understand. And let's add it here. Union select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's search for that. Perfect. I get no error, but along with side, I'm gonna get this 2, 3, 5, and 4 displayed in the screen, on the screen. Perfect. Now I don't want this other data to be also printed. So what I'm gonna do, instead of adding just single quote, I'm gonna add any negative value. So it can be, hey, I want to search for minus a if there is any. And if it is not there, then use the second query, that is union, and select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's search for that. Perfect. Now I see this 2, 3, 5, and 4 respectively. That those are your injection point. So once you identify your column count, the next thing is to identify with the union specific, identify your injection point. Here injection points are number value 2, number value 3, number value 5, and number value 4. Now if I change this 2, 3, 4, 5 respectively with any SQL query, it should work. So let's give it a try. So what I'm gonna do, instead this 2, what I'm gonna just add within the bracket, remember, and it should have just one raw value. So if you are trying to get multiple column data, then it may not work. So at the time it should be just 1. So I'm gonna say, hey, I want this to select just a specific string, that is hello. Simple as that. I'll copy this out. I'll put it instead of this number equal to 2. Or let me just copy this entire thing, be on a safer end. Perfect. Let's hit enter. Perfect. In the second column count, it just prints that hello word. And if I change it to something like a SQL query, if let's say SQL function user, and if I go ahead with that, it should work. So let me just remove this here. User is one of the function that tells what is the current user on that particular database, and it says that it's a root at the rate localhost. Perfect. Similar to the second column, we can use the third column that is over here, and we can supply whatever we wish to. So let's say I want to know version. So there is a function in order to identify version, that is version open bracket and close bracket. Let's hit enter, and here what we get? We get the version of that particular MySQL. It is designed for Ubuntu and the version is 5.0.96. Cool. So we know multiple things here. We know how the SQL works. We know how the values are inserted. We know how to break the query, and we also know how to balance the query. Alongside, we also know that the union method is the easiest way to execute your query. You just have to identify column count, and you can do it with the order by. There are other ways like group by and so on and so forth. There might be more. However, the easiest way would be to use the order by. Once you identified column count that is required for union, then you can move ahead with the further things. And the further things would be to identifying the injection points. And injection points for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once you identify injection point, the next would be of course, to execute query, whatever query you have. And your query would be part of that particular column. So let's say I want to know password for a particular user. So I can just apply here, select mysql.user. That is what the common user table within the MySQL. No, it will be select password from mysql.user. My bad. And let's add where user is equals to whatever your username is. It can be root. Let's give it a try. There might be some error which I need to address, but let's just give it a try quickly. So I'll use fifth column this time, the number value 5, and here we go. There is an error. It says there are some error with this particular result. So possibly this is resulting more than one output. So what we can do here is limit 1. So it will just going to display the first one. So if I change it right here, and this is expected to be working. I missed a comma. Here we go. We get the response back. So you can just get any of your query. If there are multiple results, then you can use limit. If I add limit 1 comma 1, that tells that the first one is what I'm interested. So if you want to get the second one, then it will be 2 comma 1. So you will get the second one. As the both of them are similar, you get the same result in the response. But if there are difference, then you will observe that here. So using limit, you can limit your query result. And as there is only one space, one data space or one column space, then you may not able to get the multiple column all at once, unless and until you concatenate those result. And there are other things that you can utilize in order to concatenate, but that is totally out of the scope. So that is what all planned in this particular video, to get you aware about union, how you can inject your query, and what are the things important for the union method. So union method, remember, column count, finding injection point, and execute your query. So that's it, and that's all for this video. In the next video, we're going to learn how the RCE would be part of this particular process, or how RCE can be taken from the SQL injection. So that's it, that's all. See you next time.